2-kilometre stretch of the Bremer River forms the centrepiece of the beautiful Ipswich parklands, gardens, boardwalks and wonderful viewing platforms. It's where nature and adventure collide with all kinds of activities. A great place to escape and a must-see when you visit Ipswich. And for motorsport fans, this is the place you've got to come see as well. Fantastic precinct with drag racing facilities, go-kart complex, and of course, where all the fans have gathered today. Let's just update you. Before we go to the Dunlop Series race, there was an incident after qualifying just before with Mark Winterbottom allegedly marching down to the Team BOC garage, and there was quite a verbal exchange, a spray between Frosty and Jason Bright. There is more to this story, and on that note, let's go to Rihanna.
Tim Edwards, Mark Winterbottom wasn't so happy at the end of that qualifying session. Great result, but I know there was a bit of a background to the story. Yeah,
I mean, for 2 days in a row, Bridie's balked him during his qualifying because they, for some reason, the BJR blokes decided to put themselves out of sync with everybody else. So, yeah, Frosty's pretty dirty because I think he was, he genuinely felt he could have been on pole, and Bridie stuffed him over 2 days in a row. So I think he's going to have a few words to Jace.
Thanks, Tim.
No worries.
So we're getting set for a start here in the final race of the weekend. 19 laps to come in the Dunlop Series, and there has been some penalties issued in the wake of the last race. We're waiting for official confirmation on some of it, and it relates to the restart. If you were with us earlier in the day, you may recall that Cam Waters controlled the field at the time of the restart, and as a result of those penalties, we believe Chris Pither will start this one from pole position alongside Gary Jacobson. Todd Hazelwood, you're looking at there a moment ago, scheduled to start row 2 alongside Ant Pedersen. So we'll get an update from the grid here and clarify more of this story shortly.
Yeah, boys, it is a little bit confusing because there was question marks about the restart in the first race today, and the stewards have only just released this information, so bear with us for a moment. They've given the penalties on a sliding scale. So Cam Waters has received a 10 grid spot penalty, Andy Jones 5, Jack LeBrock 3, and Paul Dumbrell 2. So as you can see, the grid, Chris Pither starting from the front row, alongside him Gary Jacobson, then Todd Hazelwood, Ant Pedersen, and then Paul Dumbrell and Jack LeBrock on the third row of the grid. So a little bit confusing, but bear with us. So Cam Waters 10 grid spot penalty, Andy Jones 5, Jack LeBrock 3, and Paul Dumbrell 2. So a sliding scale. I'm not sure if we've actually seen that one before.
Thanks, Rihanna. And just on that note, Greg Murphy with us in the commentary box. He's just had a quick word with Jason Bargwanna seconds ago. He's popped into the commentary box here. What do we know?
Yeah, so Bargs just said that the top 4 cars accelerated before the green flags were shown. So Cam Waters, it was at the lead of the field, he got a 10 grid spot penalty. And then it went down 5-3-2, delivered to the guys behind. So there's the safety car. It entered pit lane. And there Cam Waters went. Obviously we can't see a green flag, but apparently it hasn't been shown. It looks to me that everybody went when he did. I don't sort of understand how the top 4 cars got a penalty and no one else did. That makes no sense to me. That's my opinion.
It's reactionary, isn't it?
It is reactionary, and it looked like everyone went when Cam went. So I'm a bit at loss to understand this one. Andrew Jones has been penalised. As I say, the top 4. So it's a strange one in my book. It looked like a clean restart, but the officials have deemed that to be
1 minute signal,
a jump start by those top 4 guys, and they have been given penalties. So I'm sure there'll be plenty more to say about that afterwards.
We're in the second half of the season for this championship now. Final race for round 5, and of course from here we go to Bathurst for a big race, and it all wraps up on the streets of Sydney. So there's Cam Waters back alongside Matt Charter. That is row 6. Waters out of position 11, Matt Charter out of 12. Quick championship points update for you as well.
30 seconds until the commencement of the formation.
There it is, 179 points back to Dumbrell now. So this is going to be a really interesting race. Can Waters, from that spot, that 6th row of the grid, make an impression on those ahead of him? And it's the story has been his starts and the way how strong he's been on cold rubber. And typically, once the other guys have been able to dial in a bit, Andrew Jones and Paul Dumbrell, they've been able to match his pace a bit, haven't they?
Well, they have. And also the other interesting thing, Rusty, is who used what tyres for second race. 2 sets of Dunlop tyres for 3 races. Now, the pace that Cam Waters showed in race 2, to me, sort of suggested that he may have gone for a fresh set for that race. And if he has, well, then he's used them up and potentially may not have the firepower to be able to get it done this one. We will see what that situation was. Chris Pither, as we said, starts from pole position. Gary Jacobson beside him. So an advantage for those guys. They've moved forward. Todd Hazelwood goes into 3rd and Pedersen 4th. Dumbrell 5th. And there's Cam Waters back, as you said, Rusty, on row 6 next to Matt Charter.
So this is a revised grid. Typically with the standard round of the Dunlop series like this, they qualify and then the result of each race determines the starting position for the next one. This grid is, of course, taking into account the application of those penalties that have happened between race 2 and race 3 here this afternoon at Queensland Raceway. So Jack LeBrock, terrific. He's had an unbelievable weekend here, ultra consistent. He'll start out of grid 6. Chris Pither from pole position. We've seen him genuinely score pole in qualifying this year in the Dunlop series, but hey, he starts this one from P1 and he'll take it. This is great for the Icebreak Ford driver. And Pedersen, Gary Jacobson, they'll want to absolutely make hay as well for the Eggleston Motorsport crew. Awesome for Jacobson to be on the front row. Hazelwood out of position 3 in the iSeek Ford. The young South Aussie will be relishing this. He said to me at the beginning of the weekend, we've just got to start things further up the grid. We've got to qualify better. That's been our Achilles heel. Crowd gathering, of course. Don't forget, just after 2 o'clock local, the main event. 200 kilometres to come with pit stops for fuel and tyres for the V8 Supercar Championship Series. Many of these guys are either aspiring racers or they're going to take part in the endurance events coming up. Very good, established co-drivers.
It's so important for these guys at the front that have been given this opportunity through those penalties to take advantage of where they are. Gary Jacobson on the front row. There's a huge opportunity for him. The green flag's waved.
Green flag.
19 laps to come. Final race of the weekend for the Dunlop Series. Is it about to be a different name that finishes in position 1? Good start by Chris Pither. Looks as though...
Pedersen gets away really clean. Jacobson does not do good there at all. Dumbrell, LeBrock, they all squeeze past. Eggleston Motorsport car of Gary Jacobson, who started on the front row. He'll go into turn 2 in about 7th or 8th.
Pither bolts in the Icebreak Ford. Look at this sideways from Jacobson. He doesn't look comfortable. Josh Keane at turn 2.
I don't think Waters got much of an advantage either from where he was. Jacobson down the outside. There's Jones trying to make up for that penalty that was applied.
Simon Evans ahead of him in car 111. He's in 6th place. Here we go. This is on Andy Jones. It's the 54 of Gary Jacobson. He was on the front row, as Murph said, has dropped back to about 8th place. Coming through, lights ablaze. The Intimidator. Cam Waters in that NZ Falcon. Bryce Forward behind him. But it's the Kiwi, Chris Pither, leading the way from Countryman and Pedersen.
This isn't going to be easy for Waters. He's now behind Andrew Jones, who is a tough cookie to crack. There's no question about it. Here's Charter getting used to that Falcon. We spoke to him earlier today.
Oh, look at that. 2 wheels out on the grass.
Waters. He's going to have to push Waters, and we hopefully will see him work some magic here, and we'll see what he's got. 2 guys running off, 3 guys forward as well, running wide, putting wheels in the dirt. This could affect these guys through turn 2. It does for Andrew Jones. Look at him sliding. That's a moment for Waters to take an opportunity. He gets down the inside.
Pedersen looks fast here too, Murph, so that's for position. Great job by Cam Waters. He makes the move on Andrew Jones. But up ahead, Pedersen looks fast and is putting the pressure on Pither. 0.3 between those guys for the race lead. Jesse Dixon. Little sideways out of there was Bryce Forward in 10th place. Here's Bryce in the Middies Commodore. The Dabbridge A Dadbridge Constructions forward. Falcon ahead of him. That's Shay Davies. Good sectors from Dumbrell in 4th place. There he is. So no one's been able to really clear the field here. It is 0.6 between Pither and Pedersen, but in the recent races, it's...
Oh, Golding in the pit lane too.
Look at the damage down the left-hand side.
Yeah, a bit of damage there. Obviously, his race ended in the gravel trap this morning after a move went a little bit wrong when he tried to go past Jesse Dixon. And he ended up there, caused the safety car, and Pedersen with the lights on, doing a good job in 2nd spot. Made the most of that start. Got shuffled up the field a little bit after those penalties were applied. Hazelwood, the pressure on from Dumbrell, and a touch. Jacobson loses another spot. Waters moves through into 7th.
That's paid off for Dumbrell. Look at this. So now he's fighting with LeBrock, Hazelwood.
There was a bit of a touch there between those two. Quite late in the corner, PD coming together with Hazelwood. Now LeBrock trying to recover as well.
Look in the background there.
He had that 3 grid spot penalty after finishing 3rd this morning. Deemed to have gone before the green flag was waved after the safety car. There's Waters on the back of Evans.
Up to 7th place now, Cam Waters. Replay of the start.
Jacobson spun the tyres. You can see the smoke billowing from the rears as they all filtered past. He'll be kicking himself for not getting that one right. An opportunity lost. Is our championship leader fighting through Charter with Davies. It's all on. There's Day on the outside. What happened to Keane? Josh Keane here. That was Golding. 3 wide. Day was involved as well.
I think Josh was the meat in the sandwich
there, was
he?
The meat in the sandwich. I think you're right, Rusty. Here we go, another view. Golding was on the grass. He got it wrong again. Trying to force the issue.
How lucky was Dan Day there too? Managed to get away. And this is Hazelwood versus Dumbrell.
This is Dumbrell late. He's... Did he actually get sideways first? I'm not sure. It's hard to tell from that angle. And another one a little bit further back.
So you're looking at Bryce forward. In the middle is Jesse Dixon and then Shay Davies. So forward manages to gather it up. It'll be interesting to see how that one...
The battle up the front. LeBrock. There's Waters. Slots down the inside of Evans. LeBrock and Evans teammates in a touch there. Jacobson.
Simon Evans.
Frustrated from that start. Trying to come through. So Waters now moves into 5th.
Poor Todd Hazelwood's dropped to 9th position.
And the gap back from the lead, 4 seconds. But he's pushing hard. The NZ Falcon.
Fastest lap of the race to him so far, 1:11.81. He's now up into 5th place after starting on the 6th row of the grid. He's the intimidator. Look at the NZ Ford.
He's not going to have a lot of patience for this. I'm pretty sure he'll be a bit steamy after that penalty that was applied. And a pretty rough one too, if you ask me. And that's just my opinion.
Andrew Jones and Gary Jacobson. Jacobson holding down 7th spot. Ahead of them, Simon Evans. Here's LeBrock, and he's been able to have the measure of Waters this weekend, but that's in pace terms, not in results terms. Can he hold him out here?
There's Dumbrell working his teammate. Pedersen's got the inside here, and it won't make it too difficult for Paul. There's a bit of a championship up for grabs here. So Dumbrell moves another spot. He's only got Chris Pither ahead of him. He's made up some spots. There's Waters right in behind LeBrock. He's got to run. He's looking down the inside. LeBrock's going to fend. He's got the run on him, though. He's up the inside. LeBrock will look for the crisscross. Will he get it done? No. Waters is able to put that car exactly where he wants. He has got some pace. There's no question about it. Takes it to 4th.
The car that LeBrock's driving is...
Clean down, lead it to 12-2s.
Remember, Cam Waters being engineered by Nathaniel Osborne this weekend. Nice and calm. And the car behind him, LeBrock, of course, has FPR heritage as well, run by Matthew White Racing. So it's Hazelwood and LeBrock here.
He's wide. Oh, LeBrock. He was in a bit of a hole, but it was closing. It wasn't.
That explains why he's down in 9th position, Todd Hazelwood.
A little unfortunate, I reckon, for him. Hobson and Gracie.
What about Hobson? Thompson, brand new car, 15th place, the Challenger Ford.
Tell you what, Renee Gracie's car's got a few dents on it after the weekend. She's been racing hard in all sorts of battles with many different cars. Good to see her in the mix. Well, there is the championship leader. He is roaring through the field. This is the kind of stuff we want to see. We want to see what he's got. We know he can lead. We know he can win from the front. We want to see him battle through and see what pace he can really pull on.
Mark Winterbottom, we wanted to catch up with you. I saw you march down to the Brad Jones Racing Garage after qualifying. Had a little bit of what looked like a heated discussion with Jason Bright. Just give us a bit of an insight into what was that was all about.
Well, just qualifying. Everyone goes out in sequence, but the two BJR cars always go out of sequence, and he's trying to find a gap. I respect Bright. He's probably one of the guys I respect most in this category. So, but 2 days in a row, he started right in front of me, which just creates a bit of aero wash for my car. So, yeah, it's frustrating. When it happens once, it's cool. 2 days in a row, but he's the sort of guy I can hopefully chat to and make sense out of it. But we qualified second. It's still a good result, but I just feel like I was up on the first sector, fastest first sector, and I caught him at 4 and 5 and got a lot of push. So, second's good, but I'm disappointed because it's the unknown. I think I could have got pole, but end of the day, it is what it is. But you don't drag it on. We'll go racing, and he's one of the guys that I do like the most. So I can say something to him, but tonight we'll have a beer and I'll be all right. So you just got to make it aware. But anyway, here's what it is.
Thanks, Frosty. Good luck in the race this afternoon.
Cheers, Ta.
He's calm now, but it sounded as though he was fired up there before. Nice balance in all that too, that he can have a beer with Bridie later and it's sorted. So quickest lap of the race goes to Cam Waters right now, 1:11.75. He's in 4th position. You're watching Todd Hazelwood in car 35 and Jesse Dixon in car 10. They are 9th and 10th in this race respectively.
It's a good recovery for Jesse Dixon too, after having that altercation with James Golding, who got up the inside too hot and turned them both into the gravel trap at turn 6. So good to see Jesse recovering up to be in the top 10.
Looks like Waters is starting to put pressure on Ant Pedersen.
Yeah, it didn't take too long for him to get onto the back of Pedersen, and he is certainly only a couple of inches behind the bumper of the Eggleston Motorsport Commodore.
Gap's only 0.2 now. We'll focus on that. Waters versus Pedersen. It's for 3rd place in this race. The NZ Ford is coming. It's closing on that Eggleston Motorsport entry as the rest of the field comes through. Good job, Aaron Russell. Remember, he had that issue with the car in the last race. I think it was an oil filter, oil pump issue.
Well, they were a bit worried that they weren't going to get that car repaired. They weren't sure what that issue was. So awesome to see that it wasn't too severe. There was oil coming out of it. The official said he needed to bring it to pit lane, and he did that. He was devastated by not being able to finish that race. But this is where it's all at, the battle. Waters needs to be clean. He needs to be able to get all this done. Oh, Pedersen gives him a lot of room, sees him coming. I didn't see that one coming. Sorry, Rusty, that was a long way back. Got it done cleanly. Pedersen was pretty kind on that. Now he sets track for Paul Dumbrell, who's just 1.5 seconds ahead. You can see him right there coming through turn 6.
So James Golding comes to the lane in the 99. You saw the message on the bottom of your screen there before, a driving infringement.
Still got 10 to go.
Pit lane penalty.
Half a second lap faster than everyone else.
Half a second a lap faster than everyone else. That's the message to Cam Waters. It is doable. You can catch Paul Dumbrell.
It's down under 3 seconds to the lead. 1.4 to PD. And he's got 10 laps to do it. He's got the pace, there's no question. So we're going to be in for some hot closing laps shortly. No question about it.
Car that Pither is campaigning, run from the former Ford Performance Racing, what we now know as Pro Drive Stable, run by Will Davison back in 2012 at Bathurst, you may recall. That year it ran in the same colour scheme as the 77 Moffat Bond retro colours. And Pither leading by 1.3 seconds over Dumbrell, and Waters closing. You're back watching here. Simon Evans in 6th position. He started the weekend on the back foot, the Kiwi. His brother Mitch is here supporting him and had to take part in qualifying for the lower 50%. He just could not get the speed out of the car, could not yield a lap time, and was particularly struggling through turn 2. But as the weekend's gone on, he's become stronger and stronger, having a good run here ahead of Andrew Jones and Gary Jacobson. Jacobson will be kicking himself, having had the opportunity of being right up the front of the field, to drop back at the start like that, to bag it up, have so much wheel spin, and it's wounded him. It's been so hard for him to come back from where he is now in 8th place.
Well, the pack is so tight, there's no question that it's hard to pass around here, and especially when everyone's running such strong pace. Making a mistake like that, he will leave Queensland Raceway knowing that that was a huge opportunity lost.
Corley Jones, I reckon, on balance, will have wanted more as well. He's 13th. But we're watching here.
Jones has managed to get through on Simon Evans. Jacobson now hones on the back of the Matt White Racing Falcon, the super black car. So Andrew Jones, he'll be devastated after receiving that penalty also. It's hurt his run here in the final race. He received a 5 grid spot penalty after doing a great job to finish second in race 2 this weekend.
Waters already has a second, the gap back to Ant Pedersen, so he's got it down to under 2 seconds between Dumbrell and Waters. We go back.
Well, it's actually opened up a little bit, Rusty. He had it under 3 seconds before to the lead. Now it's just over. So Pither doing a good job. Also Dumbrell managing to maintain at the moment. So I don't think he had a very good lap. He had a bad lap, that one. He lost a bit of time to Cam Waters. It was a 12.7 against a 12.2 for Paul Dumbrell. So I think he may have made a mistake that we haven't seen. We'll see what he can do now. He's just closed it down again under 3 seconds in that first sector. So pushing hard. He's maybe just run it a bit wide somewhere. And he's still got 8 laps to run.
Matt Charter, who's down in 18th position. Team that comes from Albury. They've acquired the car that was campaigned successfully by Scott McLaughlin in this sport. He's actually had a chat to Scott at the after party in Townsville about what the car's like and ways to improve it, and they're taking it pretty seriously. Charter has acquired and got the services, if you like, of Stephen Johnson. Johnson is on the radio this weekend talking to him during the race as a driver coach. What better guy to have in your corner than a former Queensland 500 winner talking to you about ways to improve as a driver?
Well, I think it's also outside the car where the big benefit is, you know, looking at the data, looking at the video, and just helping Matt refine a few areas. I mean, they're a small operation here in the Dunlop series, trying to gain experience, but you need experience on your side, someone to be able to show you some of the little idiosyncrasies of what it's like to, and what you need to do to drive a V8 supercar, you know, well. And there's a lot of things you've got to learn. So having someone like Stevie J there, who's going to be, you know, a huge asset, and hopefully we'll see him jump forward in big leaps and bounds.
Another change of driver this weekend to car 4. Phil Woodbury is racing the Kurt Kostecki car this weekend, and Phil very excited about racing at Mount Panorama Bathurst. That's his real focus. He's back in the Dunlop series, and it's a big mission for a guy who was the Rookie of the Year last season in the Utes.
Marco Caruso, it is live. We are on TV right now. Just watching on the Dunlop Series qualifying early this morning. An improvement for yourself inside the 10 today.
Yeah, look, it's really encouraging to have such a big step. We qualified 18th on the hard tyre yesterday, so inside the 10, which is always nice because it keeps you out of trouble on that first lap, which we all know, particularly around this joint, it's been you know, hard to stay out of.
Not long until the 200-kilometre race this afternoon. You haven't even got yourself undressed, ready to go. Yeah, look, I'm looking forward to this race. And look, this morning the True Colour Walk was fantastic. We had so many people out there, and you know, that's fantastic to see everybody out here. The sun's shining, so hopefully we can get up for a good result today and get those distance flags flying. And don't run away from me ever again when you're here at Queensland Raceway and want to talk to you.
It's our 1-year anniversary of running away.
That's exactly right. Danny, you've got nothing to worry about. We're not talking about anything dodgy.
Thanks, Rana.
Thanks, Michael.
Where was that going?
Oh, I'm not quite sure. The good point to take out of it, in just over an hour's time, we'll be racing in the V8 Supercar Championship Series, counting down to that race start. If you're watching here on Fox Sports in Australia, settle in, or wherever you are right around the world, it's getting closer up in front. This is going to be a fantastic finish as they run to the flag. 5 laps remain now. It's Pither from Dumbrell and Waters, and you can see the gaps there.
Well, that was a 12.3 for Pither, a 12.3 for Dumbrell, and 11.9 for the NZ Falcon. So clearly he did make that mistake. That was quite costly. It was well over half a second that he lost a few laps ago. He's still got the pace, 4/10 quicker than the 2 in front of him. He has done a mammoth job to pull these guys in. Has he got enough laps left? 5 to go.
Tidy through turn 3. It's perfection when you watch him steer. Charter runs wide. The Cavalier Homes Falcon. That's at turn 1. Gets back on the track just ahead of Woodbury and the Penrite Commodore there. Woodbury's down in 19th place. Back to Pither, your race leader, by 0.9 over Dumbrell. And then it's just a second. Back to the NZ4. There he is, Cam Waters, championship leader.
The key is here just to drive the car as smooth as he has been doing the whole way and not get flustered by it. And we
no, contact. So
we just talked about these two. Charter had been off the road, as you said. Rusty and Woodbury had come up behind. This is the run down to turn 4. Well, a run out of 3 potentially it was where they came together. No, they're a long way down actually. Turn.
So this kind of started out at 3 by the looks of it.
Yeah,
they run up the infield here.
And he moves over. Oh. And how lucky was Woodbury? So Charter's one really, really wide.
He obviously thinks he's ahead of him at this point.
Or doesn't know I just don't think he knew he was there. So Matt Charter's made a big error there in judgment.
Oh, Jesse Dixon.
Oh, Dixon. Turn 1. Oh, what a shame.
And that cost him the spot too because he was ahead of Todd Hazelwood. Hazelwood was able to get through back into 9th place.
Well, the gap is only coming down very slowly here for Cam Waters. The laps are running out. He may have used up the best of those tyres. It doesn't look like he's got a huge amount left. The gap stays at 2 seconds. So a 12.5 that lap for Pither, a 12.4 for Dumbrell, a 12.4 for Waters. So maybe his run to the front has stalled. Just pushing, trying to keep it straight.
3 to go, mate. 3 to go. Let's make him earn it. Doing a great job.
He'll still take the maximum points for the weekend on this basis, 286. Dumbrell will bag 258. Chris Pither 248, but LeBrock 252. So it's been a good weekend for Jack LeBrock, but it's Waters who'll stand to pocket another good haul of points toward his title race. Here to Macaulay Jones. Sitting in 13th place. That's Bryce Fullwood ahead of him. Aaron Russell behind. Remember, Russell in that Plus Fitness Falcon started last. He's up into 14th. Top 3 come past our position in the commentary box here. Looks like it's status quo. Lap times, maybe 2/10 quicker that time for Cam Waters. He's found 2/10. The other guys both doing 1:12.4s. And was that Pither maybe getting a wheel just over the edge?
a little wide, but the pressure's on. All 3 of these guys on maximum attack. Dumbrell running half a tyre width off the edge of the curb. He's just closing an absolute, just a fraction. Has Waters. You can see the Concertina under brakes. All 3 of them look to close up. Dumbrell one's very wide. I think that's probably a bit wider than his line that he was looking for. We'll just see. Yeah, the gap has come down half a second. So he's not going to give up. Here. He's not going to give up. 1 lap after this one. Dumbrell misses another apex. That's costly. Just off another one. Waters hitting them. Every single one. That gap visually has come down with 1 and a fraction laps to go. Dumbrell struggling with the front. Yeah, he is, and he's doing a good job of that too. He's making the other 2 work for him. But we'll come across the line to start the last one. A 12.7, a 12.6, a 12.3. Dumbrell, oh, nearly ran it off the side. The gap comes down even more.
Waters is setting up here.
He'll be looking to get a clean run here, get on the throttle. Dumbrell's done a good job, though. Tidy through 2. Corners are running out. The opportunities are slipping. Pither, great job up front. Led from the start. Hasn't looked back.
This has been good. It's allowed Pither the space that he needs while these two have been squabbling away. Technically, this would be, I guess you could say, Chris Pither's first win if he can convert here. He won the race in Townsville last year, but that was after Waters had crossed the line first and was pinged post-race for contact with Ash Walsh at the last corner. This will be satisfying for Pither, and it'll break the stranglehold we've seen this year. It's been Dumbrell and Waters.
But it has come from a penalty from the same guy that gave him the win last year. So there he is, Chris Pither, well-deserved. Good effort, does it clean.
Nice work, mate. Get
Dumbrell.
Kept all the panels on it. Speed 3. Lit up to win the weekend, mate. So, good job.
First to the flag, Chris Pither. Great work. Paul Dumbrell survives. Gets home second by 0.48 from Cameron Waters. What a race that turned out to be, and it was all due to a last-minute jumble of the grid, the application of some penalties following race 2 earlier today. But here's your winner in race 3, the ice break forward, Chris Pither, the Kiwi. Brilliant stuff. That's great for Matthew White Racing. So far this year, it's just been Eggleston Motorsport and that NZ Falcon that have been the race winners. That changes here in the final one at Queensland Raceway.
Well, he's proven his speed. He's had a couple of pole positions this year, has Chris Pither. He hasn't been able to convert them, but he's done a nice job here to take it out. And Peterson comes home fourth. LeBrock after a penalty. Andrew Jones after a penalty. Shuffled back slightly. Simon Evans, great result. And we run back through Shay Davies, 11th. Briceville with a great result here at Queensland Raceway after doing a few laps in practice. And rounding out the back there, unfortunately, Aaron McGill didn't get a start. And Phil Woodbury, after that tangle with Matt Charter.
I wonder if that'll be looked into post-race.
I'd say that would have to be looked into. There was certainly a bit of an issue there from Charter, but there he is, our race winner. Great for the team, as you said, Rusty. They'll be super stoked about that one. They're working so hard, these guys in these Dunlop Series cars.
And it's valuable miles for Pither as well. This is important. He will join the Volvo squad for the Pertec Enduro Cup. Sandown, Bathurst and the Gold Coast. Good result for Simon Evans too. He started the weekend on the back foot.
There's been some great racing this weekend in this class again. A lot of these drivers starting to find some rhythm, starting to understand a V8 supercar and the things you need, just the tools you need to be able to get the job done. They're difficult cars to manage and to learn, and it all comes down to miles. So
they pull up here in terms of points acquired for the round. So this guy, based on his 2 wins and the 3rd place finish today, has the biggest haul of points for the weekend. So well done to our championship leader, Paul Dumbrell. And then Jack
looks
LeBrock.
to me, Rusty, that they've, even though he got the penalty, they've managed to keep their points for race 2. They're based on the numbers that we've got in front of us. So he got a 10 grid spot penalty, but retained the points for the win in race 2 as it stands at the moment. So he's managed to get another round win. I think he'll be disappointed with what happened with that penalty being applied after the safety car. And I'm sure Rihanna will give us some details on that.
Chris Pither, when I spoke to you earlier this weekend, you wanted to convert your speed into some results. Congratulations, your first win for 2015.
Yeah, I'm absolutely wrapped for the Icebreak Racing team. Matt White Motorsport, they've done an awesome job. The car wasn't great at the start of the weekend and we suffered in qualifying as a result. So obviously we got a little bit of help to move up the grid in that race, but we had the speed to be there in the end. So just over the moon for the whole team.
Well done. We look forward to seeing it in the next one.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
That's a good point he makes. We had the speed to maintain, to keep it there. So here are the round points from Queensland Raceway. Still Bathurst to come, of course, and then we head to the streets of Homebush. Sydney is where it will all wrap up. Cameron Waters, 286 he banks for this round. Paul Dumbrell second, and it was very close. LeBrock really not all that far off second place for this event. Time for the podium and your master of ceremonies, our Chad Naylon.
It's time for the Dunlop Series podium at the Coates Hire Ipswich Super Sprint. Your first place driver, Cam Waters for Team NZPRA. In second place, Paul Dumbrell, Eggleston Motorsport. And in third, Jack LeBrock, MW Motorsport. Presenting the winning trophies for round 5 is Kevin Fitzsimmons, the V8 Supercars Operations Manager for our naming rights sponsor, Dunlop. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2015 V8 Supercars Coates Hire Ipswich Super Sprint Dunlop Series Round 5 podium.
He was looking so cool and relaxed when I saw him earlier in the day. Cam Waters, listening to some tunes before he headed out for race 2. Bit of action in that. That means he has a 173-point advantage over Paul Dumbrell. And then Jack LeBrock.
Well, she was full of entertainment right from the start. We had a bit of a grid shuffle at the beginning. Some penalties applied after a safety car breach at the end of race 2, which just hotted up the action. There's Golding getting it wrong early on with Josh Keane. He's had a bit of a torrid weekend, has James Golding, which has dragged Josh Keane into it in that one. So, a few of the boys had to fight their ways through. Number 5, the NZ Falcon. He was the one that got a 10 grid spot penalty.
This was the contact between Hazelwood and Jack LeBrock. Poor Todd Hazelwood from row 2, and he drifted in the end down to finish in 9th position after some skirmishes along the way. Brett Hobson fired up in his new Ford. Some contact with Renee Gracie. He kept moving forward. Cam Waters, that was a demon late braking move there.
It was just there to show that he was desperate to get back to the front. Matt Charter, he was in the wars. Has been all weekend, and this is where it all finished. Woodbury was on the inside. Charter just didn't look like he knew he was there. And I'm sure this one will get looked into post the celebrations here after the Dunlop Series race.
Jesse Dixon was ahead of Hazelwood. It dropped him to 10th, but given the contact with the 99 in race 2, that's actually a good recovery from Jesse Dixon. Chris Pither gets his first win of the 2015 season here at Queensland Raceway. So as the celebrations continue in the Dunlop Series, we are all about the main event coming up. And on that note, let's cross now, I should say, to Nick Curry from UBET for the latest V8 Supercars market update.
He was the fastest qualifier on hard tyres yesterday, and he's done it again. Chaz Mostert will start from pole in the 3rd race of the Ipswich Super Sprint this afternoon. But the big question, how well will he get off the line? Our bookmakers reckon his Pepsi Max Crew teammate Mark Winterbottom will shade him just like he did yesterday. Frosty second on the grid, but he holds the top line of betting at $2.70. Chaz second in line at $3. Whincup trimmed from $9 into $5.50. His teammate Craig Lowndes, the Centurion, also at the $5.50 quote. Promo time now, and our money back offer returns for race 3. Place a win bet on any car, and if your selection comes second, cash back. Simple as that. Download our new UBET app from your app store to access the deal. It's been incredibly popular with punters, especially those who backed Scott McLaughlin yesterday. It's a front-runners course, Queensland Raceway, and already there's been good money for our top 2 qualifiers. Good luck if you're having a bet today, but please gamble responsibly.